Hi, everyone. This is James Dallas. I'm chairman of the Murray County Democratic Party, and I'm coming to you today as a voter here in Murray County and in the city of Columbia. I live in over in Ward 1 in the city of Columbia, and we need to have a talk about the mayor's race. Particularly, we need to have a talk about Debbie Matthews. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that I'm a supporter of Chaz Mulder. Uh, I think he's a great guy. He's about my age. I'm 40. He's 39. He's got a lovely family, and we both have had the experience of going through law school, and he's working as an attorney, and I've hung up my hat on that. But I identify, with a lot of what Chaz is going through, and moreover, I think he's a person who really cares and understands what's going on in our community. Debbie Matthews, of course, has a different opinion. She's running against Chaz, and she's been running against Chaz largely as, to be blunt, as the Republican candidate in what is actually a nonpartisan race. So she was recently on the radio. This is about a month ago with Tennessee Star, which is the Tennessee Star Report is a radio show on 98.3, and it's hosted by Michael Patrick Leahy. They had Andy Ogles on like every week a couple of years ago. This is a group of people that really love Andy. It is basically the media wing of the Murray County Republican Party for all intents and purposes. Debbie said some things on that radio program that I think are interesting, and let's go ahead and take a listen, and we'll go through piece by piece what I think really is wrong with this interview. Now, this first part of the interview here, I'm not going to quote from or talk about extensively. I will say a lot of it is standard background. There is a little bit of Debbie Matthews myth making going on here when she talks about the city council, which she was a part of from 2008 to 2017, being conservative back then, and sort of implies that they were all of the same mind. The fact of the matter is that Debbie ran for mayor twice in 2009 and 2014, both times against Dean Dickey. She did a fair bit of grandstanding rather than being a team player. But at any rate, let's forward to this part that's really talking about this race being partisan, and her comments about Chaz Mulder.
Now you are running for mayor of Columbia. The city. There is an incumbent. There is. What's his name? Chaz Mulder?
Chaz Mulder. He's
Chaz Mulder.
Craig Fitzhugh. Remember, he ran for governor on the Democratic side.
Oh, yeah.
This is his son-in-law. Very nice kid. He's younger.
Nice kid. He served.
Okay, so first of all, I think it's telling she has to go out of her way to say very nice kid. As I said, Chaz is 39 years old. He's got kids of his own. So just off the bat, she's being kind of dismissive and also trying to paint Chaz as the Democratic candidate. I will say we're glad that Chaz has voted Democrat in the past. He's been very supportive of us. He ran an ad in our Heritage Day program, but he did not seek our endorsement, nor did we endorse him either this time or in 2018. Let's be clear. He's running as an independent candidate. He hasn't sought our endorsement. So a lot of this is just, I guess, projection on her part, but we'll get to that. Anyways, continuing.
What, 4 years?
He has.
Does he know anything?
Well, the very first thing
I mean, if he's a political Democrat hack, right?
Yeah, well,
My words.
First thing he did was he asked us to have a sales tax to save a school. So we ended up with a higher sales tax. They still tore down the school. And in a place of inflation right now, that sales tax is real people.
Okay, so Debbie knows that this is way more complicated than she's presenting it. With regard to taxes especially, there's a lot of things that are complicated and are easy to confuse people about. Yes, it's true that Chaz Mulder did support the sales tax increase. Andy Ogles did as well. And the reason for that is because most of the political establishment in Maury County and Columbia supported that sales tax increase to support McDowell. But then the county commission, which Chaz Mulder is not a part of, did not fully fund the school board in their budget request. And the school board had to find money somewhere, and they ended up deciding not to save McDowell after all. So again, that was a county government decision, school board decision that Chaz was not part of. Chaz, in good faith, endorsed what Don Morrow and Andy Ogles put forward, and then, like all of us, was the victim of the bait and switch.
The mayoral election will be November 8th.
It will be November 8th.
And it's supposedly nonpartisan.
Okay, so supposedly it absolutely is nonpartisan. Neither Debbie nor Chaz will appear with a party label by their name.
So right? So this is. Let me tell you what Columbia's doing and Maury County. This is the most conservative county in the state, and we have conservative church at our Maury County Republican meetings once a month. I mean, you need to come. 200 people busting at the rafters. It's inspiration to go out and live your daily lives and find conservative values. So
let's get on that for a moment. Of course, she's talking about how being with the Republicans is like going to church. She used almost the exact same words to describe organized labor when she ran for state senate as a Democrat in 2010. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
You know, when you stand in front of labor people, it's almost like being at church. I am just a country girl from Columbia, Tennessee. And my dad was an iron worker. He worked for industrial contractors. He was the general superintendent of all the plants in Maury County that were union. And he was probably the biggest influence in my life. And you know, sometimes today when people are trying to define the Democratic Party or what the working man is, it's like, nope, my dad defined who the Democratic Party is and always will be. So we have an opportunity to take down the second most powerful Republican in this state, and that would send shockwaves from stem to stern that this is not going to go gracefully into that dark night.
At any rate, of course, she says it was a one-off thing. Fact of the matter is she voted in Democratic primaries in 2004, 2006, and 2010, and she was giving money to Democratic Party candidates as late as 2014.
Anyway, I lost my thought.
Well, what you're saying is we're talking about why it's the quote nonpartisan.
Yes. So we first of all said no, we're not doing the nonpartisan thing anymore, and we pressed to make sure that our county commissions could run partisan. Then our county mayor, who we now have the beautiful Sheila Butt as our
great
county.
Sheila Butt, former state representative.
Yes.
And of course, Debbie Matthews ran as a Democrat the year that Sheila Butt beat Ty Cobb as a Republican for state legislature. But this quote here is very interesting, talking about her role in pushing for partisan races, because back in 2014, when the Republican Party first held its primary controversially back in 2014, there was a big discussion about whether that would have impacts on municipal races. And it turns out that Debbie Matthews, in a city council meeting, specifically said there should be an ordinance or a law passed so that there's no partisan influence in city politics. So she's clearly been on both sides of that debate at one point or another.
One thing that we take great pride in is that Maury County Republican Party looked at our legislators, and we said, look, we want partisan school boards, and we want partisan municipal elections.
So that somebody can't pretend to be conservative.
Right. Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Oddly enough, the picture there on the Tennessee Star page about this interview comes from her 2010 Senate race. Her Facebook page is still live from that. You can go watch her old campaign videos. They were quite interesting, in some cases entertaining. You may see some faces that you recognize in addition to Debbie. I particularly recommend this one. Cindy Rayburn's in it. We all love Cindy. So, anyway, that was then. This is now. Debbie's now running as the conservative Republican on the ballot for the Columbia City mayor on her new Facebook page. And she's got a lot of great pictures. Of course, she's definitely touting her Republican bona fides there. She's taken some positions this year that frankly don't make a lot of sense if you really think about it for more than like 5 seconds. During the uh, forum yesterday, she said that she wanted to get rid of all regulations so that people could start new businesses and that Columbia would attract artisans from all over. And then she complained that we're losing Columbia because it's being taken over by strangers from outside of this area. Well, I'm not quite sure where she expects these artisans to come from, but just don't think about it. If you think about the position she's taking, it'll drive you absolutely insane. Just enjoy the craziness for what it is. When else are we going to see people with skywriting and banners flying off of airplanes saying Republican Debbie Matthews for city mayor? Um, just embrace the absurdity for what it is. Thank you for your time and have a nice day.